Hi, it's Kamon Reynolds. It's May 6th and it is honey flowing like crazy. Nectar coming out of the combs. Let's go into some honey production colonies and check them out and talk about a few other things we're doing here in the bee yard. I think you're going to find this video really interesting, and we have a nice honey production colony right here. So this is a super I added recently, and most of it is wooden frames, but this plastic one, this is a little medium that they're starting to draw. They've done a really good job. I just put this box on 3 days ago, I believe, maybe 4 at the most, and wow, they are doing excellent on that. This frame comes from Motherlode though, and it's a USA company, and you can see how much wax they put down onto these frames, and there's even some down into the cells. They put a good heavy coat, and that's why I got them. Because really that's the most important thing. You can shape them special, but if the wax coat's not good, well, you can forget about it. So this is the top box. Oh, goodness gracious. They've got a little bit of weight in that, so not a whole lot of weight, but I'd say that's maybe already 15% full for just a few days being on. Let's go down in here and check some more frames. So we are going to pull this center one out. Oh, look at that. It's crazy. It's just like magic. It turns on every year. You go through winter and try to keep the bees from swarming and all that kind of stuff, and then some years it works out and some years it doesn't. That's what makes it so special. And wow, I've got some. The thing of it is, we just moved 20 colonies out of here a little over a week ago, and those were our best honey production colonies. This isn't my best honey production yard, and I had too many hives here, so I wanted to move them to a different location so that they could, spread the wealth around a little bit. That's got more weight. That one right there, I feel like, is at least 60% full, and this one right here is another new box, mostly Motherlode Foundation. Again, keep in mind, these aren't our prime honey production colonies, but they're starting to draw down here as well. So I'm just going to throw this back, and let's check this real quick. And you can see it's a single brood management. So this isn't really as big as I'd like it to be. I'm going to show you a couple more colonies that are larger and give you an idea of what's going on. A lot of nectar shakes, but the way things are going, hopefully the flow will continue. We have a crazy thing that I've only seen maybe happen one other time, but not to this extreme. We have a great tulip poplar set. We have black locust going at the first week of May, which is way late. And then we have blackberry blossom hitting its prime all at the same time. And there's Dutch clover coming up in the yard. Crazy. Privet's starting to bloom a little bit as well, so hopefully the bees can handle it all. It's going to be fast and furious. So let's come over and check these two here, and then we're going to go in and look at the single brood and see if they're making any swarm cells. So we're going to smoke that down a little bit. And a lot of people have been asking me why I've been wearing bee suits so much lately, and part of it is because we have so much bee work to do. We need to be able to move fast, and it's better if you're able to move slower, and it's just better for the bees, better for you. But when you have hundreds of hives to get through, then there's not much you can do. I just put this on maybe 2 days ago. That's already got some weight in it. But they are bringing in nectar like crazy right now. This box right here, that's 30%. This one's not so hot either, huh? Well, I thought they were a little further along than this, so I'm just going to lead you guys on until I find whichever colony that I want to see. Let's just go on to this one. Obviously, this one's got 4 boxes. That's got some weight in it right there. Oh yeah, that's what they should be looking like if they're a prime honey production colony right now. You can see a lot more white wax down in there. And let's pull out one of those babies. Oh yeah, so we have a good bit of new white wax on top. And they're starting to even cap them a little bit over here. And for those of you who are new, this is worker-sized cells over here, and this is drone-sized cells. And the foundation started off as all worker-sized, and you know, they eventually convert some over. That doesn't matter at all in the honey supers. And this box is well on its way to getting full. Let's dig down and let's go into this one and see how the queen's doing in that single brood chamber, because we have super. That's pretty super. That's terrible. It's been a long day. And then there's the deep brood chamber at the bottom with 10 frames in it and an excluder above it. Oh yeah, baby. Whew. That one has got to be at least 80%. That's got some weight to it. That one, you know, 15, 20% maybe. Okay, we got a little bit more in this one. Whoa, what is going on up here? Did the queen slip up? Or is this old from like last year? Look, there's, that is weird. I know the queen hasn't been up in here, but it looks like maybe a lane worker situation or something. I don't know. I wonder if sometimes that you get a lane worker that lays like far away enough from the queen. That's really strange. Really strange, but we're feeling weight in this frame. I definitely don't want any of that action going on. There's no eggs, but they're starting to fill this up with honey right there, and that's a nice comb. This is a comb in its second year, and that's actually better. The first year combs are so thin and fresh, they have a hard time going through an automatic uncapper like I have. So it's actually going to be really nice after the second year. It'll cut a lot better, and it'll cut instead of sometimes tearing. That box has got good weight to it. If this flow can continue, we might be able to get 4 supers off of this colony this year. Hard to tell. And this is the newest box. Typically, if you have the time, it's best to put a box on the bottom that's of comb. It's called under supering versus putting them on top. However, if your back's not the greatest or you don't have time, putting it on top will still work too. It's just a little bit more efficient. Now, if you're putting on a box of foundation, which I highly recommend, and I'm going to be doing very soon, I just placed an order with Hilco for some mediums. I'm out of medium frames, so I'm going to put a box of medium foundation and frames down on the excluder of every single one of them, because it makes a massive difference having that foundation close down here. What we'll often do is take a frame on the edge of one of these boxes that has just a little bit of nectar in it, and we'll put that right in the center of those foundations, and it really lures the bees up into that foundation right here on that excluder. And if we can get every single honey production hive to draw out one box, well, another 1,000 to 2,000 more medium combs is not going to break my heart. No, sir. Let's get down into this single brood chamber. There's not a whole lot of bees down in here. There's so many out in the field, it seems. And let's see what this pattern is looking like. So as you can see, we have 10 frames, and that is plenty enough for the queen to lay on, even if she's an amazing queen, as long as they don't backfill it with nectar or bee bread. So we have bee bread down into here, and we have quite a bit of nectar over into here. And these are some nice grayish bees. They have mostly Carney genetics, but a lot of people ask me this. We say we like to breed for Carneys, and we do, but everyone else raises Italians around here, and so it's really what we have is mutts. Kind of like we are here in the United States. All right, just a mix of everything. All right, let's go on to the next frame. And this is very light. And oh, this is fantastic. I don't know if you can see that, but there is eggs and young larvae down in there. Maybe Laurel can get that angle. I don't know. How's it look, Laurel? Not too good? Well, here's what we want to be looking for, though, is queen cells down at the bottom. And here's one right here. And there's an egg in it. That doesn't mean they were going to capitalize on that for sure, But it's best to occasionally go through these things. And the best thing about a single brood chamber is now I only have 10 frames to go through as opposed to 20. And maybe come over on this side, Laurel. I don't know if you can see it. Let me do this. Sorry, bees. And maybe you can get that angle of that brood right there. This is important that the queen has plenty of room to lay. That's one of the main causes of swarming, is a lack of room for her to lay. Alright, sorry if the lighting's not the best, but it's the best we can do for this time of the day. So let's get into a couple more frames and see how that's going. And we're primarily looking to see if they're doing anything with the swarm cells. Now we cut this colony back down to 4 frames of brood the first week of April, and then gave them some combs to fill in the rest of the spot. So she's laying larvae all up into here. That's really nice, gorgeous looking young stuff. And oh my goodness, there is a cell right here. I was just in this the other day. Yep, that's a young queen right there. Oh my goodness. Maybe this is the one that swarmed out, Laurel. I'm seeing eggs though down into here. Let's see if we can find the queen. I was just in this hive, and that's really strange. The queen's laying very hard. I see a bunch of eggs. Let's continue to look. Never a dull moment in May in Tennessee beekeeping. Look at that pattern right there. Basically, all the misses are where there's bee bread. So I'm looking for more cells now, and also looking for the queen. And down in here we have a cup. Just because there's one does not mean they're wanting to swarm. They usually keep several around. So that one is empty. And that is a good frame of brood right there. I think one of the issues that is not talked about a lot in swarming in Tennessee is a massive amount of early pollens. And sometimes that can block up the brood nest. Look at that pattern right there. And look at that bee. It must have hit a big patch of pollen. And that's, oftentimes we talk about honey, but our little bees are going out there and helping so many plants be successful in reproduction, which is just good for all of us. And over here we have just more good brood, and we have a couple more cups. I need to be looking for the queen. I'm thinking about other things. And yep, that one's empty, that one's empty. We have drone brood down into here. And it's really not wise to leave this other hive open. It's best to shut it. Don't always do everything that I do in my videos, please. Absolutely not, but it'll be okay. This one time, just this once. Well, I was hoping to show you the next colony over. This might end up being a long video. Alright, so we're over into here, and this is a dark, oh, there she is. So you can see she has a little bit of a yellow dot left. I'm going to bring it up to you. There you go. And a gorgeous carny queen right there. She's walking a little slow. She's doing a good job for us. I've been seeing some cells many times that I come into this colony, and I really think that I think it's more of a supersedure thing. I don't know why, but she's doing a pretty good job. But I think this colony is going to need to get a new queen when this flow is over. There's been a couple warning flags. The pattern hasn't always been perfect. She's just slightly below a prime queen. And they keep trying to raise cells, and that in of itself is enough reason to get out of the gene pool around here, is I don't like colonies that are swarm happy. So over here we have a drone cell, and so at first if you see that, it might scare you a little bit. And I know you're probably looking at this pattern going, oh my goodness, there's nothing wrong with that queen, but I don't know. I've seen several things that make me think that this queen's going to run out of steam sometime in the middle of the summer, and I'd rather not find out with it going queenless at a bad time of the year. So likely what we'll do is we'll split this colony in half, and we can leave her. But then the new split's going to get a new queen, and we'll probably go ahead and make another queen, and if this one doesn't do a good job, we'll just requeen her with another. So I'm not seeing any other types of capped cells. If it was swarming, a colony this strong and this type of flow, if there's swarming going on, there should be at least 2 cups that have jelly in them. Or there should be cells. So I don't know, maybe somebody with a lot more experience can chime in. Look at that diverse, beautiful pollen down in there, making just those wonderful healthy bees. And that greenish, brownish pollen, I believe, comes from blackberries. And it looks almost dark brown black when they have it on their baskets, kind of gray. It's an interesting color, but when they pack it in, it kind of gives it a gray-green. This colony is in good shape. I'm going to keep an eye on it. If it swarms because of that one cell, we don't want those genetics anyways. I'm pretty sure that's more supersedure than anything. I don't know exactly what was going on there. And I'm just going to scoot that together. We are going to put this food frame back towards the edge. The bees are doing a wonderful job. If you'll notice with that single brood chamber, very little honey down in here, hardly any at all. And that is because we have combs that we put in before the honey flow, but when it was just starting to trickle, they were already getting these boxes ready for that. And as long as they can keep that clear and we pull them back to where they feel like they've kind of already swarmed, it's all about keeping that stimuli down. Let's get into this colony right here and see what they're up to. But I want to put this one back together before we get 3 hives up open at once. All right, and so now let's get into this hive right here. And they're a little bit behind our prime yards. Our prime yards have a lot more privet and autumn olive. And honestly, we have more bees up in this area. The soil's not as good, but still, in a good year, we'll do well. And wow, look at this beautiful bunch of combs down in here. I just love that white wax, and I love those smells. I wish we could pipe that through the video. Look at that, and check this out. You got some darker hues over here, and you have some lighter hues of cells down in here, and you just get a mix of, well, wild flowers. I'm fairly confident this darker stuff over in here is poplar, and some of this lighter stuff is the maybe black locust or the blackberry. It's hard to know for sure. There's several other smaller contributors that really do add up and matter. So one of the things that I would like to say is, okay, you're like, Kamon, this is all great, but you have several combs. I only have maybe 1 box of drawn comb per hive, or 2 boxes, and I really need more for our flow. Well, what you could do is pull this off. Get a refractometer and go, okay, this is 20% moisture content. And it really needs to be, in my opinion, a little bit below 18. It can be a little higher than 18, but in my opinion, get it in the 17 range. I think it'll taste better, and it's also just better to play it safe, in my opinion. So, but you can get a box fan, blow that through those over a day, and have a dehumidifier, and within a short period of time, dry that honey out, extract that, and then put it back on the bees a couple days later, and they can fill that right back on up. So that is an option right there. I want to just check 1 or 2 more of these. Just got to do it. Already starting to cap this up in here. These are just going to be some wonderful combs to sling. And okay, we're just going to keep on going. We just got to keep going. Got to keep going. A little bit of wind today. Yeah. Just another beautiful frame. As dark as this is, I'm just gonna go, that's got to be tulip poplar. It's good honey. Some years it contributes more than others. Wow, that is, oh yeah, that's got to be tulip poplar right there. Sorry bees, I know that was, you had a perfect frame going. And hey, I want to point something else out real quick. So It's hard to tell with this, but this nice white capping wax, that's called dry capping. Sometimes you'll look into a hive and you'll see there's honey, but it's capped differently. So if you see this nice dry looking cap, that just means that there's a little bit more space between it. The honey quality is the same. And then you have, I think this is a good cell right here you can look at, and you can see where this is nice and dry capped over here on the right. I just made an indentation with my hive tool. And over here, that one is kind of a wet cap. And again, it doesn't really matter. The honey is still good. You can see a little bit more right here where it's nice and dry. And then you have, you can see some wet cap right there. Honey's still the same, but it looks a lot prettier when you have that dry cap. And back before Varroa and small hive beetles and a lot of these nuanced things that we have that has come over lately, some of them not so nuanced, they used to breed for bees that would give you better cappings. You know, back when they, that would have been a great problem to have. If you've never read a book by Eugene Killian called Honey in the Comb, and you want to learn about comb honey production, check that one out. It's an old book, but a great book. Great weight in that box. Beautiful. And yeah, that would not be good. So we are going to drop down into this next box, and great weight again. This box has got to be almost as full as that one. Woo, yeah, baby. Getting 2 supers of honey off of this colony unless something crazy happens. Now I just threw this one in like the other ones just a couple days ago, and let's see what they're doing with it. Wow, this flow is amazing. I need to get another box on here. I really need to get a foundation box and then another box of comb if I have another one to spare. I think I got another one to spare, but get those foundations on, and maybe even stick one up on top. It's kind of a relief if they fill it up and it's just a phenomenal flow. They can go up there and start working on those foundations. And hey, if you have a box of foundations and they only draw it out maybe 20% of the way, but they've started still, that's great. What you can do after the honey flows over, pull all your honey off and leave that comb honey super on there and just feed very thin syrup. It doesn't even have to be 1-to-1. 1-to-1 will work though. And you can get them to draw that out. Obviously don't harvest that and give it to people, well, at least don't sell it to them as honey. But that right there is a way that you can get more drawn combs for the next year. And a lot of times on a strong colony, after the flow, you can get that one drawn, and when it's about 70% drawn, take some of those foundations, put them in another box of foundation, and keep feeding, and maybe get 2 mediums drawn. A good strong colony after the flow, if you're quick and prompt and the bees are healthy with a good queen, will draw those out. And if you did it on 10 colonies and could get a box and a half on average, well, that's 15 more combs per hive times 10. That's 150 more combs for next year, and a good honeycomb can last a decade. I've seen some older than that because you don't let the bees lay any brood in them. So let's just check a frame or two down in here, and then we're going to cut the video. And Laurel, you thought I wasn't going to have enough energy to do this video, but that mellow yellow has kicked in, and I'm running at 110% efficiency. All right, so this is not very heavy. It's got a lot of young stuff. Look at that larvae down in there. Not a lot of honey down in here. The bees have done a great job pushing that up, just like they're supposed to in this single brood managed colony. Now this is a little bit of a tricky method. I don't recommend anyone to do it without doing the research. Oh, there's the queen right there. What a gorgeous Bonnie Joseph. I was talking to her the other day. She calls those like that have that kind of striped raccoon-tailed. That's kind of what that one looks like, is a raccoon-tailed queen. What a good girl. She's doing a great job for us. We're going to be very careful, and we're just going to stick her like that. We're only going to peek into a few more frames. No reason to disturb them too much on this wonderful honey flow day. And oh yeah, lots of bee bread in there. That's what I'm saying. Maybe I didn't finish earlier, but pollen trapping might be a trick to help keep those early swarms down, because that stuff can build up in there. And if we could just eliminate maybe 1 frame of bee bread, by collecting it and pollen trapping. It's another source that we could sell something or just eat it ourselves. Super healthy for you. And it also keep our colonies from backfilling the brood nest and give that queen a little bit more room to lay. So when we get done with this colony, I'm going to shake a frame and show you just how significant this flow is today. Alright. She's laying some good patterns right here. And all this nectar that's down in these cells, they will have that moved up into the honey supers by tomorrow. A lot of times the bees are in a hurry, they'll deposit it in an empty cell down below, and that's not too bad as long as they can move it up by the next day. And that's all looking good. Look at that pattern right there on that adjacent frame. Looks good. All right, we are going to put that queen back in. Oh, she's laying. Ah, she's laying. Okay, 21 years came and act like you've seen it before. Awesome. Never gets old. I'm anxious to see this next check. Oh, she's looking at that one. Nope. Oh, there she goes. Up to 1,500 a day this time of the year. Aren't we blessed to be able to observe and get to interact with this wonderful creature? Oh, there she goes again. We just might need to make some daughters off of this one. We'll have to see about that. See how gentle these bees are? Not all of our bees are quite this good, but this is one that we would consider breeding from because the bees are not running. They're not running all over the combs. They don't have an aggressive tendency that's overboard. They're just good disposition, good healthy bees. And that queen right there, I mean, what more could you ask for? Sun's beating on her back, and it doesn't matter. She's just going about her business even though we've disturbed them. Let's gently put her back in the dark. And we are going to shake this next comb. All right. Excuse me, bees. Excuse me. Yeah. Let's see how much nectar we get come out of here. Oh, look at that. All right, got most of it on that side. Those bees are like that darn beekeeper. Just dripping all out of those cells. That's how you know it came in today. Is just how easy it is. Let me shake this one more time. Here we go. Well, we are not going to do that anymore to the bees. That was a lot of work right there. Now we've made them have to do double work, but it's pretty delicious. Alright, so thanks for watching this video. It's just go time. We are slammed busy, missing a swarm or two. If you lose some swarms, just remember that if you have a great honey flow, and you're probably busy trying to keep up like we are, you're going to lose some swarms. It's not always fun, and it kind of drives me nuts losing my own swarms, but it happens. And we've lost some. I talked to Bob Benny, he's lost some. If Bob Benny can lose swarms, well, I guess we all can lose swarms. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.